Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. My name is Joe Dell. I am the author of the book Goin Over, legendary book. I've been asked many a time to do a little reading from the literature I had created, and today I have decided to do so. So for your enjoyment, I will give you an excerpt from my book, Goin Over. Once upon a midnight jury, I smoked my stem weak and weary, over many crackheads crawling upon the floor. Ronnie was nodding, nearly napping. Suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my trailer door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my trailer door. Only this, and nothing more. Distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly they wished in morrow, vainly they all sought to borrow from the stash I had hidden in the floor. And I had sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant medium who the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustled as Tony peered through the curtain. Thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still my beating heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my trailer door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my trailer door. 'Tis this, nothing more." Presently my soul grew weaker, hesitating then to seek her. "Sir," and said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I and Ronnie were napping, and so you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my trailer door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here, I opened wide the door. Darkness there, nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering stood I. Long I stood there wondering and fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was whispered words, "Dude, she's a whore." This I whisper, and an echo murmured back the word, "Dude, she's a whore." Merely this, nothing more. Back into the trailer turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when then with many flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately hippie of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady, perched next to my trailer door, perched staring at the bust of Nancy just next to my trailer door, perched and sat, nothing more. Then this ebony hippie beguiled my sad face into smiling by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance he wore. Through thy crest may be shorn, but not shaven. Though I said, what are you craving? Ghastly and grim, ancient hippie wandered from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on this nightly plutonium shore. Quote the hippie, dude, she's a whore. Much I marveled in this engaining fellow to hear the discourse so plainly, though it answered little meaning, little relevance it bore. For we could not help agreeing that no living human being, though it answered little meaning, little relevance it bore, ever yet was blessed with seeing the hippie next to my trailer door. Man or beast next to this sculptured bust next to my trailer door with such a name as dude, she's a whore. But the hippie, sitting lonely, staring at the placid bust, spoke only that one group of words, as if his soul in that group of words he did outpour. Nothing further than he utter, not a hair did he flutter, till I scarcely more than mutter, other friends have gotten high before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the hippie said, dude, she's a whore. Startled at the blindness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters, it's only stock in store? Caught from some unhappy girlfriend, whom unmercifully disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of, dude, she's a whore. But the hippie still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the hippie, the bust and trailer door. Then upon the velvet sinking I betook myself to linking, fancy unto fancy thinking, what this ominous hippie of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous hippie yore meant in croaking, dude, she's a whore. Then I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the hippie whose fiery eyes now burnt into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that lamplight gloated o'er. But whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er? She shall press. Ah, she's a whore? Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim or lozy, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretched, I cried, thy dealer had lent me, by the Monty who has sent thee, respite, the nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget the lost Lenore. Quote the hippie, dude, she's a whore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if man or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there a balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quote the hippie, dude, she's a whore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if man or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by the woman we both adore. Tell this soul with soul laden within the distant Aden. It shall clasp a saintly maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Quote the hippie, dude, she's a whore. Be that word or sign of parting, man or fiend, I shriek upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black hair curly as a token of thee lie thy soul hath spoken. Take thy nose from out my heart and take thy form from out of my door. Quote the hippie, dude, she's a whore. And the hippie, never flitting still, is sitting next to the bust. She is staring next to my trailer door, and his eyes have all the seeing of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplit o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted, 'cause I know the hippie is correct, as he stated, dude, she's a whore. That actually was not from my book, but those who've read the book know what that means.